last time on Epic Voice Adventures in the Athanasian Creed. Greetings, plebeian, and welcome to Epic Voice Adventures in the Athanasian Creed. Today we are taking a look at lines 3 and 4. Here is the rubric. You know, let's move on. Fides autem Catholica haec est, ut unum Deum in Trinitate, et Trinitatem in unitate veneremur, neque confundentes personas, neque substantiam separantes. And that's all we're going to do today. Stop arguing. No more, no more. We're done. Fides. We have our es right there, but it's not a verb. We don't care. Let's move on. Aha, here it is. Est. We've seen this before. No need to parse it again. Just translates as is. But we're going to try to do this as a proper order so it's easier to understand in English. Fides, with our long es there. Initially, we would be tempted to treat this as a third declension nominative or accusative plural, but this is in fact a fifth declension feminine noun, which we saw previously in that one line. Fides is our, of course, fifth declension nominative or accusative plural. They're very similar to the third declension. In this case, we have, well, an additional option, which I failed to list amongst the previous two. The third option is actually a nominative singular. The fifth declension is kind of cruel that way, in an awesome way, you know. So, I don't know why I said you know. Nominative, singular, feminine, to fit with est being singular. Autem means however or but. Now, Jerome uses it as just like the word de in Greek. But in this case, it's not Jerome writing this. We don't actually know who wrote this. So, however, is how I'm going to leave it, with but as the second option. Catholica haec. Catholica we saw previously as a feminine adjective modifying fides. So here it is again, also feminine singular nominative. Being connected with est, sort of. Haec could be the alternate for the connection. It could be the Catholic faith is this, or faith is this Catholic. The first option makes a lot more sense. But haec comes from hic, haec, hoc. There are two additional options for haec, those being the nominative plural of the feminine, or the nominative plural or accusative plural of the neuter. Neither of those, no, none of those other options make any sense. So, just pulling this over, and that over. However, faith Catholic is this. Now, before we move on to this next part of the third line, I should point out what I pointed out previously. The Catholic here, talking about the universal Christian faith. So I'm going to include the article again. Ut. Ut, in this case, could be introducing either just a generic just as or thus meaning, or it could be introducing a subjunctive clause. We need to find our verb and understand the greater context here to determine one way or the other. Unum, nope, deum, nope, 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 nope. Aha. Veneremur. We have our MUR ending. This is, of course, a first person, and it is plural. And it is either passive or deponent in form. In order to know that, we would have to know our verb. And veneremur is actually a first conjugation deponent verb. And that should be an immediate warning sign to us, because we have an E there instead of an A, which is what we would expect as the connecting vowel for a first conjugation deponent verb. But it is present tense. Without knowing this verb, one would be tempted to take this as venere, with mur tacked on to the infinitive, giving us an imperfect subjunctive. However, that would come from the verb venire, and there would be an I. We don't find an I, therefore that is not a proper option. So, present, deponent, and it is clearly subjunctive. Which means that we could have a purpose clause. However, the Catholic faith is this, in order that we venerate. And that does in fact work. However, this could just be introducing, working as the word that, like hoti in Greek. But then we would still have to figure out, well, what is the subjunctive doing in here? It could be a hortatory, in that let us venerate. I think treating it as a sort of purpose clause makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to treat this as that, and pencil in, well, pin in this case, purpose question mark. We venerate, to keep it as close to the Latin as possible. Unum Deum. This needs to take an object, and there we have unum Deum in the accusative, singular, masculine for the takings. One God. In prepositional phrase. In this case, with the E right there, we know that this is taking the ablative. So this tells us place where. Et Trinitatem, wrong form to be part of this prepositional phrase, there it has to close. And this is going to be singular. Yes, singular. And Trinitatis, therefore this is a feminine noun. Why do I say feminine noun? Well, third declension nouns that go as, atis are most of the time going to be feminine. Now there is quite possibly the case that it could be something else. This seems unlikely to me, however. If there is, I will leave a note. Otherwise, we're moving on. In Trinity. Et, and. Trinitatem and unitate. Trinitatem, we have the same word here, except in this case we have the em, which tells us that this is going to be an accusative, otherwise same. Trinity. Oh, and also the et here would be connecting unum Deum and Trinitatem as the two objects of veneremur. Prepositional phrase. In this case it is taking ablative again, because that e right there. And unitas, unitatis, here we again have a feminine noun of the as, atis type. And that is number 3. Moving on to number 4, neque. Neque is a negative particle. Que we could translate separately from it if we wish to, and not if we wanted. Ne here appears to be negating confundentes, our verb. Here we have es as our ending, but note also before that we have int. Confundo, confundere, confund, probably d, would be the first 3 principal parts. Entes tells us that this is a present participle. So, es could be nominative plural, or it could be accusative plural, masculine or feminine. Since we have a plural subject here, plural nominative works for this one. And of course, masculine or feminine, we can't tell unless there was an adjective modifying this adjective. But masculine generic is probably the correct answer. Present, active, participle, and not. Confounding or confusing, which might have 2 s's, I don't remember. Personas, as right there, this is an accusative, plural, and feminine ending. So this is the direct object of our participle right there. Persons. Now, if you know anything about the Athanasian Creed, and well, the Trinitarian controversies way back when at all, then you should know what the Greek form of this word is. And I'll put a note at the bottom of the screen listing it for you. We're going to move on. Neque, we would translate this and not if it were standing by itself. But since we have 2 of them together, we would translate this one. We could, I should say, translate this one as neither. Confounding, confusing, persons, nor. Separantes, there is our verb again. We have our same ending right there. This one was probably a third conjugation because of the E. This one is clearly a first conjugation because of that A right there. So, pulling this parsing over here, that E looks too much like a P. Just like personas, I will again put the Greek equivalent for substantiam in a note below just about now. And there we have it, reading from 3. However, the Catholic faith is this, that we venerate one God in Trinity, and Trinity in unity. Neither confounding or confusing the persons, again, an article is appropriate here, nor separating the substance. Why is that plural? This is singular. I didn't even parse that. Shame on me. AM, we've seen this many, many times before, but this is, of course, accusative, singular, and feminine. And there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me. All those things that I say at the end of these videos. Farewell, plebeian.
What? You're still awake? Why are you still here then? You should be reading a book. Or if not reading, you should watch one of these other videos. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. See you next week.